Junkyard miracle, the guy who turned scrap metal into a luxury supercar. Amidst a chaotic scrapyard filled with rusted metal and broken parts from vehicles long forgotten, a group of men, led by a particularly bold character named John, has sparked a small DIY revolution in the world of car enthusiasts. At first glance, you might think they're searching for buried treasure beneath layers of oil-stained debris. But no, what they're doing is far crazier. They're attempting to bring a junked car carcass back to life, not with high-tech equipment, but entirely by hand, armed with a few old welders, some serious imagination, and a fearless, let's just do it attitude. John, the self-appointed commander of the scrap resurrection, came up with a wild but oddly brilliant idea: to transform a pile of discarded metal into a gleaming supercar that could turn heads even in the wealthiest of neighborhoods. He began welding the rusted frame together, piece by piece, carefully sculpting each detail as if stitching together the lost glory of a once proud machine. But the story didn't end there. Just when you'd think he might give up, a group of loyal friends showed up like dusty-shirted superheroes. They didn't bring superpowers, but they did bring sandpaper, buckets of paint, and an all-in spirit. Together, they sanded down the frame and hand-painted every inch, creating a masterpiece that was equal parts artistic and absurdly impressive. Then came the real madness. John began assembling an engine using parts scavenged from other cars, a move considered next-level reckless by any mechanic standards. And yet, shockingly, it worked. Like something out of a movie about an eccentric genius, the components came together as if destined to unite. The car, once a lifeless heap of junk, was now taking shape, shining, and dangerously close to becoming street-ready. With nothing but bare hands, wild determination, and a few good friends, John didn't just build a car. He built a story. A story that proves with passion, a bit of craziness, and teamwork, even a scrapyard can give birth to a supercar. Stay tuned for episode 2, when the supercar roars back from the dead. You won't believe what's coming next. Unbelievable for $1, John's team recycles a ship shaft by hand. While the world races ahead with AI and automated assembly lines, somewhere in a rusty scrapyard, John and his team are pulling off a heavy-duty mission in the most unconventional way imaginable. No protective gear, no modern machinery, just bare hands and brains, seemingly pre-programmed for chaos. They're recycling a ship's drive shaft. Yes, you read that right. A massive piece of industrial-grade metal acquired for just $1. It sounds like a hoax from a sketchy online video, but it's real and jaw-droppingly insane. How on earth are they remaking a component this massive and dangerous without molds, machines, or technical blueprints? Even more shocking, at full ship speed, can this recycled shaft actually withstand the torque? Apparently, fear isn't on the team's radar. With a level of boldness that borders on cinematic, the group gets straight to business, heating the steel until it glows red hot, like something straight out of a blacksmith's fever dream. The red-hot shaft is then left to cool before entering the next phase of what can only be described as manual precision engineering. The most impressive part? They're shaping this monster without any molds. No templates, just muscle memory, grit, and what seems like telepathic communication with the metal. It's as if they've done it so many times, they don't even need to look. Each strike, grind, and adjustment lands with uncanny accuracy. They sand, shape, and smooth the shaft like sculptors working with steel. And in the end, the result is nothing short of stunning, a fully formed, functional-looking drive shaft that could easily pass as factory-made. Except it's not. It's 100% handmade, forged with nothing but skill, guts, and the smell of burning ambition. John and his crew aren't just tinkerers, they're street-level mechanical artists. They give forgotten metal a second chance and prove that sometimes madness and talent go hand in hand. Want to see what happens next? Don't miss episode 3, when the ship shaft spins back to life. Guaranteed to shock and entertain. Full-on shock, John takes on a major truck repair job for just $1. In a twist no one saw coming, John's legendary bare hands repair crew is back in action, and this time, they're taking on something big. Earlier today, a truck broke down right in the middle of the road during rush hour. With no time to waste, the driver made a desperate call to the one man known for fixing the unfixable without a single piece of fancy equipment. John and his infamous roadside repair squad. As expected, John and his crew showed up like mechanical ninjas, equipped with nothing more than skilled hands and brains, seemingly preloaded with technical specs. No computers, no diagnostic machines, just raw talent and muscle memory. But the real shocker? The entire repair cost just $1. That's right, $1. For a full-on roadside rescue, tire removal, bolt replacement, and bearing repair. Is this a prank? A hidden camera show? Nope, just John doing what John does. And the big question, why would anyone charge so little? The answer probably lies somewhere between passion, madness, and unmatched skill. Once on site, the team got to work immediately. They removed all the truck's wheels and quickly identified the problems: broken bolts and a worn-out bearing. Without missing a beat, John, looking like the charming action hero he is, stepped in and handled the repair manually, adding a bit of grease here and there like a true artist at work. His crew then jumped in to reassemble everything with the kind of speed and accuracy that made it seem like they could bolt a wheel on in their sleep. And just like that, the truck was back on the road, running smoothly again, right where it had broken down. Once more, John proved that in his world, there's no such thing as unfixable, especially not when all it takes is some elbow grease and a dollar bill. Don't miss part 3, when John turns scrap metal into mechanical miracles. The series that makes you believe in the power of $1. Shocking. The recycling Avengers turn trash into brake discs, all for just $1, believe it or not. In a dusty corner of the street mechanics world, a group of unsung heroes, armed with no engineering degrees and not a single high-tech machine, has left the internet utterly speechless. They've just resurrected one of the most crucial components of modern vehicles, the brake disc, and the cost of this mechanical miracle? Just $1. No automated assembly lines, no fancy laboratories, and definitely no silver-haired engineers nodding over CAD diagrams. All they had were a few calloused hands, some scrap metal, and faces lit with pure determination, as if they'd stepped straight out of Fast and Furious Scrap Market Edition. The process sounds like a joke. Melt down discarded engine parts until they flow like caramel, pour the molten metal into a DIY mold, handmade of course, let it cool, then grind it smooth until it gleams like a side mirror. No sensors, no compression testers, just the eye of a craftsman and the steady hand of experience. And just like that, a rugged new brake disc is born, looking shockingly like an original part. Honestly, it's so convincing, it's almost scary. Netizens immediately split into two camps. One yelling, "OMG, mechanical geniuses do exist," and the other skeptically muttering, "Wait, that thing actually works?" But regardless of which side you're on, one thing is crystal clear. These street mechanics have taken craftsmanship to a whole new level, all for just $1. Yes, you read that right, $1. If this has left you as stunned as we were, hit that 1 to show your support for these underground innovators. And don't forget to subscribe. Who knows, in the next episode, they just might build a gearbox out of plastic spoons. A group of unknown craftsmen, not from any research institute, not affiliated with any major car manufacturer, has just sent the internet into a frenzy by claiming they can recycle diesel engine pistons using nothing but scrap aluminum found at a junkyard, all for under $1. No LED lights, no AI technology, and certainly no sparkling lab in sight. Instead, what you'll find are rusty old engine blocks, a blazing fire pit, and a few calloused hands. Like something straight out of a post-apocalyptic film blending Fast and Furious with Mad Max Trash Edition. The process sounds almost too simple to believe. They heat discarded engine parts until they melt like butter, extract whatever pure aluminum remains, then filter it, barehanded no less. Next, they pour the molten metal into a piston mold. Also handmade, of course. No blueprints involved. It seems these street engineers are working entirely from heart, memory, and muscle. And voila, a brand new piston is born. It looks shockingly close to a factory-made part, if not even more, unsettlingly authentic. For those still unsure whether a piston is a tool or a Thai street dish, a piston, sometimes cheekily called the heart of the engine, is a critical component that allows a vehicle to function. In internal combustion engines, the piston receives pressure from ignited fuel gases and transfers that force to the crankshaft to create movement. Put simply, no piston, no go. Your car would just be a wheezing pile of metal. And this group, they've built that essential part from literal garbage. The internet immediately split into two camps, one yelling genius-level engineering, and the other screaming, wait, this thing actually runs? Regardless of the reaction, everyone seems to agree on one thing. These guys' DIY skills are off the charts. Their homemade piston, after some minor polishing, is ready to be put to use. The only question is, will it run smoothly or explode like a New Year's firework? To find out, viewers are invited to stay tuned for the next episode, where Back Alley Engineering continues to challenge the global auto industry, $1 at a time. Recycling a 2500 kVA transformer for just $1? Barefoot engineers send the internet into a frenzy. A 2500 kVA power transformer, the kind you'd usually find in industrial plants or electrical substations, built entirely from electronic scrap? And the cost? Just $1? Sounds like the setup for a weekend joke, but believe it or not, this story is 100% real and seriously hilarious in its own way. At an unmarked workshop with no fancy assembly lines and not a single NASA engineer in sight, a group of street-smart craftsmen are pulling off the impossible, assembling a high-capacity transformer entirely by hand. No safety gear, no supporting machinery, just pliers, screwdrivers, some coils of copper wire, and a whole lot of village electrician spirit. Each member of the team has their role. One wraps the coils, another installs the magnetic core, and someone else tightens every bolt with surgical focus. The process is so meticulously organized, it might just make some factories blush. Slowly but surely, every part is fit into place, and the copper wires are laid down as neatly as noodles in a bowl of pho. The result? A fully functional 2500 kVA beast standing tall in the middle of the yard. Not glossy, not glamorous, but packed with raw, built by bare hands energy. The internet instantly lit up. Comments flooded in. $1? I can't even get a desk fan for that. If these guys built airplanes, I'd book a ticket right now. Nothing is impossible, as long as you have copper wire and nerves of steel. They may not have ISO certifications or a fancy Industry 5.0 setup, but this team has proven one thing. Passion and skill can light up an entire power station, quite literally. Want to see more electrical miracles made from scrap? Don't forget to like and subscribe, where every episode is a high-voltage revolution in street-style engineering. From junkyard to luxury living room, aluminum casting crew shocks the internet with a $1 lamp. A luxury lamp made from scrap engine parts? And the cost? Just $1. Sounds like the plot of a sci-fi film, but this is a 100% real story that's gone viral online. A group of anonymous craftsmen has turned a trash heap into a creative workshop, producing a final product so stunning, even interior designers are nodding in approval. Forget high-tech assembly lines and NASA engineers. These men had nothing more than a few discarded engines, a homemade furnace, a couple of crude molds, and two incredibly skillful hands. They scavenged through piles of metal waste to extract pure aluminum from the scrapped engines, then melted it down at blazing temperatures. Using a process that's equal parts street-smart and old-school craftsmanship, they poured the molten aluminum into pre-shaped lamp molds. Then came the magic. From the bubbling metal emerged sleek, solid, gleaming lamps, fit for a luxury showroom. No CGI, no lab lights, just sweat, passion, and the rare gift of seeing beauty where others see junk. The final moment, when the lamp was brought into the light, quite literally, left viewers wide-eyed and speechless. Comments flooded in. This costs only $1? Are we buying a lamp or pure inspiration? I'll take $5 for my living room. Once again, John and his team proved that with a little creativity, a bit of boldness, and a whole lot of passion, even junkyard metal can be reborn into something truly extraordinary. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to follow future episodes, where the forgotten gets revived into jaw-dropping art that might just leave the whole world stunned. From scrap to gear, John and his crew shocked the internet with a $1 engineering feat. Who would have thought a pile of scrap metal rusting away in a junkyard could be turned into precision mechanical gears? And all for just $1? If you're thinking, you've got to be kidding, think again. This is a wildly impressive and borderline crazy DIY project brought to life by John and his calloused, battle-hardened hands. No fancy lathes, no robots. No high-end production lines. Just a few discarded steel plates, a makeshift workshop that smells like oil and grit, and an undying love for hands-on mechanics. That's all John and his team needed to breathe life back into dead metal. For those scratching their heads at the word gear, here's a quick rundown. A gear is a rotating mechanical component with evenly cut teeth designed to mesh with another toothed part, transferring torque with precision. In other words, it's the conductor of motion in machines big and small, from motorcycles to wristwatches. The upcycling journey begins by selecting steel plates with just the right thickness. Then comes the cutting, grinding, and carefully shaping each individual gear. But wait, it doesn't stop there. After the shaping process comes what could only be described as a spa treatment. Each gear is soaked and washed in a special anti-corrosion solution to boost durability and longevity. Finally, the shiny finished products are neatly organized, boxed, and ready to ship. And the entire process costs just $1. $1 to turn trash into treasure. $1 to transform discarded steel into something that keeps industry moving. And $1 to make millions of viewers drop their jaws and say, "This can't be real." Comments exploded under the video. Is John playing real-life engineering simulator? This is peak street mechanic craftsmanship. I'll take 10 sets, please. If you're hooked on this journey of turning junk into genius, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Because here, creativity never stops turning, just like John's gears. From scrap to masterpiece, John's team forges scissors from car leaf springs for just $1, and the internet is losing it. Who on earth would recycle car leaf springs and do it all for just $1? Sounds like a joke? Well, laugh if you want, but brace yourself for full-on shock when you see the final product. Razor-sharp, gleaming scissors, hand-forged from what most people wouldn't even bother picking up off the ground. Still not sure what a leaf spring is? No worries. In the gritty language of street mechanics, a pot leaf spring is the part of a vehicle's suspension system made from stacked steel plates. It bears the full upper body weight of the car and absorbs shocks from rough roads. It might look like a bent piece of scrap metal, but for hardcore DIYers, it's practically a gift from the heavens. Strong, flexible, and, let's be honest, seriously cool to upcycle. Enter John and his crew, the street forging wizards with soot-covered hands and sparks in their eyes. No labs, no CNC cutters, no fancy engineers with framed diplomas. Just a homemade coal forge, a hammer, a few discarded springs, and a whole lot of calloused expertise. The process begins with heating the leaf springs until they glow red hot, molten lava style. Then comes the pounding, bending, and shaping of the steel into scissor blades, completely by hand. No 3D models, no precision measuring tools. And yet, the result? Scissors so sharp they don't just cut through paper, they slice straight through the idea that junk is useless. Comments under the video are on fire. Only John would come up with this madness. Are those scissors or medieval weapons? $1 for a whole story worth of inspiration. Once again, John and his team prove that greatness doesn't require high-tech gear. All it takes is a wild idea, a crew of down-for-anything buddies, and a DIY spirit strong enough to make the entire internet smash that like button. Don't miss the next episode, where discarded junk becomes jaw-dropping art, and human hands remain the greatest creative tool on the planet. Hit like and subscribe to follow more of this one-of-a-kind recycling journey. The $1 engine. John's team leaves the internet in shock again. An old, dust-covered engine, once considered a lost cause, has been miraculously brought back to life by the skilled hands of John's streetwise crew. And here's the kicker. The entire cleaning and restoration process cost just $1. Sounds like a joke? Hold that laugh. Because John and his team have once again proven that nothing is impossible if you've got the patience, dexterity, and just the right dose of old-school DIY spirit. The process begins with what looks like a full-blown mechanical surgery. No fancy machines, no hydraulic lifts, and definitely no overpriced professional tools. Just a few worn-out wrenches, some grimy rags, and a work ethic that could put robots to shame. Every grease-caked component was carefully removed, meticulously cleaned, and then reassembled. as if they were solving a mechanical Rubik's Cube. Even broken parts weren't discarded. They were replaced with still-breathing leftovers salvaged from other engines. Now that's what we call real recycling. And the best part? Not a single bolt left behind. As if they were born to do this. The restored engine didn't just run better. It looked so spotless, you could practically use it as a mirror. Viewers across the internet couldn't help but laugh in disbelief, partly from shock, partly from admiration, at the crew's jaw-dropping precision and no-nonsense craftsmanship. Once again, they proved that true artistry doesn't always come from high-tech workshops. Sometimes, it's just a pair of calloused hands and a sharp, calculating mind. Want to witness more of this next-level mechanical wizardry? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, where trash is reborn, and engines are transformed into bare-handed masterpieces. From trash to treasure, extracting pure silver by hand, and it only costs $1. While the rest of the world is diving headfirst into high-tech machinery and expensive automation to mine precious metals, a group of craftsmen from a small remote village has left the internet absolutely stunned. Their method? Extracting pure silver from discarded trash, entirely by hand, for just $1. Sounds like a sci-fi movie plot? Sorry to disappoint. This is very real, and even stranger than fiction. No high-end laboratories, no safety goggles, heat-proof gloves, or cutting-edge equipment. These men rely solely on two hardened hands and a cool-headed mind to transform literal garbage into gleaming silver. The process begins with scavenging discarded metal components, the kind of junk the rest of the world wouldn't look at twice. These parts are cut into pieces, melted down, and then soaked in a special solution to remove impurities. Once the unwanted materials are gone, the mixture is heated again, this time revealing the glittering reward, pure silver. No industrial molds, no centrifuges, just the age-old know-how passed down from a local recycling legend. John, a man revered as the recycling saint for his uncanny ability to spot value in what others toss away. The result? Shimmering droplets of silver flowing out of waste, as if they were straight out of a fairy tale, leaving viewers wide-eyed with disbelief and bursting with laughter at the sheer audacity of it all. Still wondering how they pulled it off with just a single $1? You might want to hit that subscribe button to catch the next episode, where the impossible becomes reality, powered by bare hands, blazing passion, and a wildly inventive DIY spirit like no other. Just $1. Recycled plastic urine bottles leave the internet stunned. Plastic recycling used to be the job of big factories, but in one remote village, far from city lights and even farther from modern machinery, a group of skilled craftsmen has pulled off something truly jaw-dropping, crafting a fully functional urine bottle from trash plastic, all for just $1. The process begins with what most people would consider garbage. Crumpled packaging, torn plastic bags, and worn-out plastic containers tossed aside without a second thought. But to these recycling wizards, it's precious raw material. They gather it, melt it down, and with a few masterful moves, think of it as plastic kung fu, they turn this junk into soft, moldable blobs ready for shaping. No industrial molds, no CAD-designed blueprints, just bare hands, sharp eyes, and a mind seemingly preloaded with creative software. The result? A urine bottle, known by countless names depending on where you're from, emerges in perfect form, fully functional, and surprisingly aesthetic. Viewers can't help but laugh in amazement at the speed and precision of this wildly off-the-grid production line. Which brings us to the big question. What do you call this magical bottle in your region? A urinal bottle? A pee jug? Or something with a little more flair? Drop your answer in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping videos, where trash is transformed into treasures using nothing but hands, heat, and a healthy dose of artistic madness.